Good morning. We'll wait few minutes for the others to join. Good morning. Do you have any doubt in last class? Regarding the assessment of postnatal mothers? So we have seen till the assessment. Today we will see the PT management. Okay. So for the women, for the postnatal mother, we will not be able to do the assessment perfectly. We need to have, that means like we need to have little bit modification in their assessment, because sometimes we cannot be very strictly do the MMT. They might find it very difficult. So most of the time we will be doing little modification during their assessment. Then only we will just approximately find their muscle power, then we will start the treatment. So in treatment here we will be having three different categories of people. One is normal delivery, another one is cesarean delivery with midline insertion, cesarean delivery with the fenestrial insertion. Okay. So three different category people will be there. So the management, even though the management is same, so for the three different categories, we will be separating the treatment in three aspects. That means depending on number of days they will be there in hospital. So normally in normal delivery patient, they will be there in hospital for 3 days. So minimum, maximum 3 days, and cesarean section midline insertion will be there for 5 to 7 days, and fenestrial insertion will be there in the hospital for 3 to 5 days. So all depending on how is the baby and how is the mother recovering from the delivery. Okay. So we will be having a certain problem in mother. Plus they may have some other issues also. So normal issues the mother will be having is diastasis recti, weak pelvic floor, weak abdominal muscle. Then they will have pain over the perineal area, especially if they have done a normal if they have delivered normally. Then they might have symphysis pubis pain and back pain. So these are the common problems they will be having. So for this common problems, the pain management will be like you will be giving them support, teach them good positioning because of the weak pelvic floor and weak abdominal muscle, they might not be able to sit properly or stand properly. Whenever they are standing, the abdomen will be pulling them forward. Same wise, whenever they are sitting also, they will be having a stoop posture. So all these will lead to back pain. So you need to teach them good positioning and good support with a pillow as well as with the chairs and with the cot. Then apart from that, you can give TENS, you can give pulse electromagnetic energy. And you can also give donut pillows for pressure relieving in case if they have a perineal pain. So donut pillow will be very, very effective. Then you need to teach them good positioning during breastfeeding as well as during breastfeeding as well as during nappy changing position, baby lifting position, all those things. So when you are teaching the back care, you need to teach according to these changes because these are the activities the mother is going to do more often, like breastfeeding, nappy changing, then lifting the baby, all those things. She will be doing it more often. So you need to give them back care or ergonomic advice according to these activities which they will be performing. So then the PT role starts from how you are going to start the exercises or in which position you are going to start the exercises. So you can start the exercises in lying, you can start the exercises in sitting, standing or anything. So depending on how fast the mother is required, some mothers even after normal delivery, they will be able to stand up, walk within few hours. Most of the time they will be able to walk within 2 or 3 hours, but some women will find it difficult. So according to the status of the mother, you can choose the positions. So either you can choose crook lying in case if they are lying, if they are not able to walk, or you can go for sitting, standing, any kind of positions according to the mother's comfortability. Then next is like you need to identify, you need to start with the pelvic floor exercises. Then you need to teach something called hand support over the perineum whenever they are defecating or whenever they are passing motion. So this is because you whenever they are straining for motion and urine, they might have a very severe pain in the perineal part. So they need to maintain the hygiene in the perineal part. They need to do a lot of pelvic floor exercises because pelvic floor exercises will increase the circulation and that will be increasing the blood supply and that will be enhancing the healing and that will be reducing the pain. So this pelvic floor exercise is very, very important. Then you teach them how to support the perineal part during defecation and voiding. So these two are other important things when in pain management. Then next is like some persons may have this after pain. After pain means they will be they will sometimes if the labor pain is very severe, so this severe pain will be registered in the mind and they will be thinking that they are still having the pain. So it is a psychological issue that they still have the pain. Okay, so for these people, you need to give them a good counseling and you need to ask them to touch the abdomen and see that the abdomen is not bulged anymore. So already the labor has undertaken and the baby is out. Okay, so you need to keep on stressing all these things. So same like your amputation patient, they will think they will have legs and they will feel a pain, right? That is the same, that kind of pain will be there in this some of the mothers also. So you have to keep on counseling, and you have to make them to see the baby, feel the baby, all those things, so that they come out of this fourth stage of labor. Then apart from this, you need to give them good flexibility exercises for all the joints. Is that clear? So so these are the things you are going to concentrate as a PT during in a normal delivery patient. So now, like, we will divide the exercises in the day-wise protocol. So it depends on, sometimes you will be you will sometimes when you are working in a setup, sometimes you will get a chance to treat the mother from day one. So you can go with day-wise protocol. Sometimes you will be getting the referral at the time of discharge. So you will not get you will not be able to do the day-wise protocol. Instead, you can teach them uh, the complete protocol, or you can yeah, you have to teach the complete protocol in one day. Okay, so in that case, like, you need to make sure that they understand the exercises very clearly, and they need to they know how to progress the exercises very clearly. Okay, so you need to be careful on this. Maybe you can give them a pamphlet, or you can give them a written exercise, or you can also give them a video, so that they are able to remember the exercise and do the exercise. Okay, so if you are working in a women's health oriented clinic, then you will get a chance to treat them on the first day itself, and you will be getting you will be able to implement the day wise protocol. Okay, so in the first day, so most of the time first day may be like, you will be asked, first day will be like immediately the day of delivery, or the next day. So immediately on the day of delivery means it will be little difficult for you to give the exercises. So you need to first give them a lot of counseling to start the exercises, because they will be, one thing, they will be scared, another thing, they will be a little bit busy with the baby, getting attached with the baby, or will be having a lot of responsibilities towards the baby. So no, normally we will be starting the exercises the next day of the delivery. So first you need to start with breathing exercise. Breathing exercise is normal diaphragmatic breathing exercise. You have to teach them. Then teach them good ankle toe movement and hand exercises. This is to reduce the edema. Teach them pelvic tilting exercises in lying, isometric abdomen exercises and isometric back exercises in lying, pelvic floor exercises in lying. Then teach them back care, feeding position, nappy changing position, baby bath, breast care, all those things. So all these things I will show you the video and I'll explain. So this pelvic tilting exercises will be done in lying, sitting, standing, and paripone. So in case if the mother is very tired, you can start in lying. If the mother is okay, then you can start with sitting also. Okay, sitting or standing also you can do. So depending on the mother's status, you can change the positions. Is that clear? So regarding the back care, you need to teach them the ergonomic positions. Especially when they are sitting, they have to sit with completely back supported, and they have to sit in a way that the whole thigh is supported on the chair, and they should definitely touch the floor. So these are the things you have to teach them. Then they have to put equal weight on both the buttocks while sitting, because if they are sitting on one side, it may lead to SA joint strain. So they have to sit equally on both the buttocks. If they have severe pain over the perineum, they can go for the donut pillows. That will be giving them the pressure relief on that perineal area. Then for standing, they have to stand on both the legs together with a normal base of support. They should not go for a broader base of support. So both the legs should be supported on the floor equally. They should not stand in a hyperextension position. They have to stand normally with normal knee in knee in neutral position. The shoulder should be relaxed, not retracted or not elevated. Arm should be loose at the sides. Okay, so this is the same ergonomic principle which you will be teaching them from antenatal classes. So if you are follow up in the patient from antenatal, then it will be very easy for you to teach them the exercises. Okay. Then, so the new one is regarding the breastfeeding. So regarding the breastfeeding, you need to teach her proper position, as the primary gravid mothers will find difficult to will find difficulty in choosing the position and maintaining their body. So they might go for stoop posture, and they might find it might lead to back pain, or it may lead to back pain, or it may lead to uh, abnormal posture later. So they have to sit erect with proper back support, with proper pillow support and other things. So I will show you the pictures, as well as I will show you the videos for this. So the another main thing you need to teach the mother is, the mother has to hold the baby in a proper position, in such a way that the baby is leaning towards the chest and the baby's mouth is against the nipple. And when you need to make them to open their mouth and insert the nipple inside in such a way that the nipple is against the hard palate, and the tongue should be down to the nipple. So then only they will have the sucking reflex. So maybe first few times the baby might not know how to suck. So, but whenever you touch whenever something is touching the hard palate, the baby will start to suckle. So that is your neonatal reflex. So you can stimulate the sucking reflex in case if the baby is not able to suck. And you can teach the mother also how to stimulate. So you can stimulate by touching the lower lips, by touching the chin, and by slowly touching the hard palate. Okay, so these are the areas when you touch, the baby will start to suck. So you can teach the mother to hold the baby like that, and then the mother should be totally relaxed when she is feeding. She should not be in a hurry, or she should not be in a tension. If she is in tension, then it might not have a proper letting out reflex, and this may affect the baby's feeding. So they should not be tense, they should be relaxed. So you can teach them good deep breathing exercise when they are breastfeeding. Okay, so these are some of the positions. So if you see here, the thigh is completely supported and the feet is on the floor. If it is not touching, give them a footstool. Then give them a good pillow to the back so that they sit erect, and give them a pillow under the lap. So when you give the pillow under the lap, you need not keep the baby down on the lap and bend down. So you need to keep a pillow on the lap, in such a way that the baby is lifted up to the nipple area. Okay, so you can see how many pillows you need. Some people might need one, or some people might need two also. So according to the height, you have to keep the pillow and see to that the baby is lifted to the nipple level. The mother should not keep the baby down on the lap and bend down. So this is very, very important. In case if she is doing in long sitting, you have to give a pillow under the knees, so that the abdomen muscle is relaxed and it will not be painful. And she has to sit properly with a good pillow support, and same wise you have to give a pillow under the lap, so that she's lifted, she's not bending or she's not stooping down forward. Okay, so these are some of the other positions. This is called cradle hold, where you will be holding the baby from the sides. That means if you are feeding the baby on the right side, then the right hand will be holding the baby. So this is called cradle position, and this is the normal position used by many of the mothers. So whenever the baby is on the right side hand will be holding. Whenever the baby is on left side hand will be holding. Okay, and the other hand will be supporting the breast so that the nipple is drawn inside the baby's mouth. Then this is called cross holding, cradle holding. So when you are feeding on the right side, the left hand will be supporting the baby. Okay, so this is called cross cradle hold. This is called football hold, where like when your the baby will be held in between the trunk and the hand. So the baby will be held in between the trunk and the hand, and left hand will be holding the head and neck properly when they are feeding on the left side. So this position is normally used by mothers who had a cesarean section, because when they have cesarean section, if they are keeping the baby in the anterior position, it might cause pain over the suture side. So that's why you need to hold on the side. Is that clear? Then you can make them to lie down and do the exercises. Lie down and feed the baby. So in side lying, if the baby is not able to come till the nipple level, you can keep a pillow under the baby. Then like the mother has to come little bit anteriorly, like a quarter turn position, to feed the baby in the lying position. But many of the time we don't prefer this lying down position, because it might end up in respiratory distress for the baby while feeding. So it's always better to have the baby in in sitting position, because in lying sometimes the mother also will sleep and the baby also will sleep. So this will lead to aspiration to the baby. So that's why you need to better avoid that. Next is nappy changing position. So these are the suggested nappy changing positions. They should not bend their back and strain their back. So either they have to lift the baby to their waist level, and in standing they can do the nappy change, or they have to kneel down and come down to the baby's position and do the nappy change. So this is also another best position in case if they don't have symphysis pubis dysfunction. Then you can ask them to do nappy change in this position. Okay, so these are the position. Next, in the second day, you can go for graded abdominal exercises. In case if they have diastasis recti, then you have to go for bracing abdominal exercises rather than graded abdominal exercises. Is that clear? So you can make them to do bracing abdominal exercises. If they don't have diastasis recti, then you can go for the graded abdominal exercises. That means if the mother is having grade 2, then you will be starting the exercises from grade 2, then progress to grade 3, 4, 5. If the mother is already is in grade 3 muscle power, then you start the exercises from grade 3 and increase further. Is that clear? So you need to go with the according to the assessment, you need to start the graded abdominal exercises from the day 2. Then posture correction, relaxation position, pelvic tilting and pelvic floor exercises in sitting and standing. And on the third day, you can start exercising the lower abdominal muscle, that is legs. Start with leg sliding. So you can start with single leg sliding, then gradually you can make them to go for double leg sliding. Then gradually you can make them to do single leg sliding along with abdominal retraction and head rise. Okay, so all these are gradual exercises according to the mother. Then you can go for shoulder bracing exercises. This is to avoid stood posture and maintain the upper trunk. Next, you need to teach them good home program. So in home program, you teach them the advanced abdominal exercises. That means how do they progress the abdominal exercises. Then teach them core stabilization exercises. So this advanced abdominal exercises, they should be doing this as they are progressing. Okay, so when they are slowly improving to grade 4 and grade 3 and grade 4, then what are the exercises they are supposed to do? So all these things you have to teach in the home program. Then they can go for aerobic exercises, swimming and regular walking, jogging, everything after 1.5 months or 2 months in case of normal delivery. So in case of cesarean delivery, it will be taking little more longer time. So next is This is the home program you will teach. So in case of cesarean section, you can divide the same exercise you will be teaching. Only thing is the time duration will be different. So in case of transverse session, you will be having day 5 program. In case of midline insertion, you will be having day 7 program. Okay, so the exercises are same. Only addition is you will be stressing for splintered coughing technique because they have undergone a surgery, so they might have this secretion in the secretion. So you need to bring out the secretion. So if they are coughing normally, it will be very painful for them. So you have to teach them how to do splintered coughing technique. So this one day it will help the mothers to bring out the secretion without pain. And another one you have to add in cesarean section is you can add IRR in case the wound is not healing properly. So over the suture side, if the wound is not healing properly, you can use IRR, and IRR should be kept for 50 to 70 centimeter away, and it has to be kept for 15 to 20 minutes. Is that clear? So rest remaining, all the exercises will be same. So sometimes they might have some postnatal problems like painful perineum. So for that, you can teach them good pelvic floor exercises and comfortable positions with donut pillows. You can also give icing, ultrasound. Ultrasound should be given with indirectly with a water glove. And you can give IRR and sitz bath or bidets. So bidets and sitz bath is you take a basin of warm water and you ask the mother to sit over the warm water and do pelvic floor exercises. This will increase the circulation and this will enhance the healing. So this is called sitz bath. Then in case if they have diastasis recti, you can teach them bracing abdominal exercises. If the diastasis recti is severe, then you have to teach use abdominal binders. Then for low back pain, you can give tense massage positions, pelvic tilting exercise and posture correction. For symphysis pubis dysfunction, you can give them rest, pelvic support, walking aid, isometric hip adductors, water exercises, ultrasound and ice massage. So thoracic spine pain, you can teach them good posture correction and shoulder bracing exercise. So this will help them to reduce the pain. See, I'm not going in detail because during the antenatal class itself, we have seen what are the exercises for all these things in depth. So that's why I'm not going in detail. So if they have any nerve compression, then you can teach them elevation with active movements. Apart from that, you can also give them ice pack, then ultrasound. This also will help them to reduce the swelling and the nerve compression will be relieved. In case if they have varicose vein, then teach them ankle toe movement, ask them to go for brisk walking, elevation and stocking. In case if they have hemorrhoids, you give them a good pelvic floor muscle exercises, give them ice cube massage, give them a pad support, then teach them good diet habits and defecation technique. So defecation technique is they are supposed to sit at 135-degree hip flexion. Then only they will be able to defecate properly. So if they are using an Indian toilet, it will be absolutely 135-degree. If they are using a Western toilet, they should use a footstool so that the hip is elevated and maintained at 135-degree flexion. If they have incontinence problem, teach them good pelvic floor exercises, pelvic floor muscle exercises that will help them to increase the muscle power and stop the problem. Then if they have water water retention, that means if they are not able to void properly and all those things, ask them to wash their hands in water, ask them to wash their hands over the running water. You can also keep a warm hot pack over the abdomen. This will help them to void or help them to urinate. If they have breast problem, according to the problem, you have to teach teach the exercises, not exercises. Teach the PT management. So that sometimes if they have breast encouragement, you need to advise them to do massage and let out the milk. If they have any mastitis or anything, then you can go with ultrasound. Okay. Then, in case if they have after pains is the fourth stage of labor pain. So if they have after pains, then you can use stents. Same, the pads will be kept same as the stage 2 labor. Then sometimes they will be having some emotional problem like psychological depression and other things, because they might have difficulty in coping up with the additional responsibility. They might feel depressed because of their body. They might feel depressed because of their expectation. So all these things will lead to emotional and psychological problems. So you have to give them good counseling. Otherwise, they might end up in puerperal psychosis and maternity blue. So these people will start to beat the baby. Sometimes they will be killing the baby also. So you need to be very careful. You have to give good psychological counseling to the mother, and you advise the partners to be more supportive. Okay, so that they are able to come out of the depression. So these are the positions, like you have to, for cesarean section, you have to better go for football position, so that it is not compressing the suture area. Is that clear? So now we will see the videos of how to do the exercises. So you can keep this device protocol in mind.
Baby. Laid
Okay,
back.
so what they say
You
is
might think that all
not all mothers will be able to breastfeed immediately, because many of the mothers will not know how to give the breastfeeding. Okay, so that's why we need to teach them proper position and proper technique.
new mothers will naturally find breastfeeding a walk in the park. But do you know that there are some women who struggle to get their babies to latch properly? In this video, Miss Helen Cruz, Senior Lactation Consultant, shares with you 5 breastfeeding positions you can try to help find what's best for you and your baby. Laid back position. Lie down on a supported reclining position. Mothers should lie on some pillows for back support and not lying flat on their back. Place your baby with his or her tummy down on your belly. This will help to foster skin contact. Allow your baby to find the nipple on his or her own and gently guide your baby if help is needed. There is no right or wrong way to breastfeed in this position, and many mothers figure out their preference rather early. Cradle position. This is one of the easiest and most common breastfeeding positions for mothers and babies. Cradle your baby in your arms on the same side of the breast your child is feeding from. The crook of your arm will act as a pillow for your child's head to rest on as he or she is turned towards you. Support your baby's bottom with your hand. For newborns, their head and bottom should be in line. For older babies, you may lower their bottom down slightly. Support your breast if needed with your free hand. Cross cradle position. This position is similar to the cradle hold but is especially good for small and premature babies. Using your palm, support the back of your child's head and shoulder at the nape of the neck. With your forearm, hold his or her body and bottom firmly. Football position. Similar to the cross cradle hold, use your palm to support your child's head and shoulder at the nape of the neck and bring him or her up to meet the breast. Support your baby's body and bottom with your forearm. Tuck your baby under your arm so that his or her legs are behind you and the head is at your breast. Side lying position. While this is the most difficult position to get down to, it is great for providing mothers with extra rest. Lie on your side with your arm or pillow under your head for support. Your baby should be lying on their side with their mouth near your nipple. Use a rolled up receiving blanket to prevent your baby from rolling away. Alternatively, you can also get your spouse to help you get the baby latched on so that you don't have to move from your position. There is no definite breastfeeding position that all mothers should follow. Use the position that works best for you and your baby for a comfortable and enjoyable nursing experience.
No, I just removed the online alone. Yes. Yes, yes. So this is how like you need to teach them breastfeeding. Then next is regarding the diastasis recti exercises.
First, lie down on your back on a non-slip mat. Next, fold your legs such that your feet are on the floor and your knees are pointing towards the ceiling. Now, fold your arms across your middle over your belly button such that your right hand crosses over to the left and your left crosses over to the right. Now slowly lift your head and shoulders off the ground as if you were performing a half crunch. Slowly return to starting position. You can repeat this exercise up to 8 times. As you build your stamina, you can increase the number of repetitions. Diastasis recti is a common condition which women suffer from post-pregnancy. Hormones released during pregnancy soften up the connective tissue between the abdominal muscles. Further, the growing uterus exerts pressure on the tissue and causes it to widen. Although a small amount of widening or separation of ab muscles is normal, excessive separation can lead to problems. Diastasis recti occurs in 30% of all pregnancies. This condition can reduce the strength of the abdominal muscles and cause lower back pain. In case you find that you have this condition, it's best to consult your doctor. Although diastasis recti can make it difficult for you to do abdominal exercises, the good news is this condition is not serious and it heals within the first few weeks post-delivery. Take care and enjoy your new baby.
Okay, so this is called bracing abdominal exercises. Okay, so this is your bracing abdominal exercises which you have to do for people who are having diastasis recti. Next is isometric abdominal exercises. Okay, I'll show you one more video for bracing abdominal exercises.
All right, I'm going to teach you the best beginner core exercise. This is great for moms. This is also a great exercise if you are pregnant or if you're postpartum. So let's get to it. First thing you're going to do is you're going to lie down and we're going to do the abdominal bracing exercise. Once you're lying down, you want to have your knees bent and your hands at your side. And what you're going to do for this abdominal bracing exercise is you're going to draw in your belly button as if it's going down to the floor, and you want to flatten your back. So to test to see if you're doing this correctly, you want to try to see if you can fit your hand under your back. If you can't, that means you're doing it correctly. If for some reason you still have an arch in your back and you can slide your hand underneath, then you're doing it incorrectly. So you want to draw your belly button down and tighten your belly as if someone was about to punch you and you're bracing for a punch. And you want to hold that contraction for 5 seconds, and then you're going to relax, And then you're going to draw in your belly button again, hold for 5 seconds, do not hold your breath, and repeat. You can gradually work up to a longer hold of 10 seconds or even longer, as long as up to 60 seconds. And that's it. Alrighty, make sure you are approved by a doctor before beginning an exercise. And I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, please comment below.
Susmita also leave. So can you just talk with Dr. Yu and see, like nearly 4 people who are on leave like that. Whether Miss Kavita is on leave, she has not any like given any leave, applied leave. That is on 2nd February. Yes, not 22nd. Anyways, like you can just find out how many of them are leave. Then just confirm with Dr. Yu. Or else, is it okay? Can we have on Monday, 4 to 5? Because definitely everybody will be there, right? Okay, so you just talk to Dr. Yu, say him that many of them are in leave, nearly 50% are in leave. So ask him whether he's free on Monday. Okay, thank you. Sorry, students, I got a call from the office. One minute. Okay, so these two are bracing abdominal exercises that is done whenever they have diastasis recti. If they don't have also, you can teach them this bracing abdominal exercises because the abdomen will be very loose and flabby. So if you do this bracing abdominal exercises, it will be easy for them to go for the next graded exercises. Okay, so next we will see is isometric abdominal exercises. How to do isometric abdominal exercises.
Your transverse abdominis muscle. So our next exercise is an abdominal contraction exercise, focusing on your lower abdominal area, which is called your transverse abdominis muscle. So we'll do an isometric. So first you'll place both fingertips of both hands on your low belly or pelvis bone area. You'll be comfortably relaxed with the knees bent, with very relaxed and normal breathing. So the area of focus is between your fingertips. There are many different cues we use to engage these muscles. One is the idea of gently drawing the muscle inward that's underneath your fingers. Excellent. And it's really important to maintain normal, relaxed breathing. If that felt difficult, some people will consider a small zipper that comes from the crease of their hips towards their fingers or from their fingers inward, gently drawing in, again maintaining normal breathing. You'll try to hold this contraction approximately 10 seconds to ensure relaxed breathing, and you'll try to do this 5 repetitions 2 to 3 times per day. Some of the things that people do in error with this exercise is they actually try to do a pelvic tilt or flattening of the low back, which is not what we want ideally, or they will actually draw air in under their ribs, lifting up and arching their back, also not what we want. So relax there, and that was great.
Okay, so next is pelvic tilting exercises.
Hi, I'm one of the physios from the Royal Free NHS Foundation Trust, and today I'm going to be taking you through an exercise called pelvic tilting. Terry, as my patient, will sit on the edge of a comfortable surface, either a bed or a chair, and what she's going to do is slowly curve her spine and roll her pelvis forwards as far as pain will allow, and then she will reverse and tuck her tailbone underneath her and curving her spine the opposite direction. She'll continue to move forwards and backwards for approximately 30 seconds to to try and learn what movements her spine is capable of doing. This exercise can also be done in line. So if I get Terry to come and lie down on her back, with her legs bent up in this position, she can then practice arching her back and tucking her bottom underneath her. Fantastic. And again, she's going to roll from position A to position B over the course of 30 seconds. And relax. Good.
Next is pelvic tilting exercises in other positions.
Sit down with good posture. Draw your belly button inwards, towards the back of the chair slightly, and tilt the pelvis backwards, i.e. flatten the spine against the chair. Return to the start position, arching your back, known as lumbar lordosis. This exercise strengthens the deep abdominal muscles and improves core control.
The pelvic tilt progression. The pelvic tilt is a core engagement exercise that works on your deep core intrinsic stabilizers. It's often given to women post-pregnancy to help them restore their abs and build them back up, but really anybody who has low back pain or can't get their abs to work, or even when you're doing planks or other exercises, you need to use this. You need to learn it. You need to go back to basics. You know when you do the abs in class and you have your hands behind your low back to help your low back and keep it from engaging? Well, this progression will teach you to actually use your abs so you're not just compensating and you're making up for the fact that your abs aren't really working. If you have a towel, that's a great tool to make sure that everything's engaging. When you do the pelvic tilt, you're tilting your pelvis. You almost feel like you're rounding your low back, you're drawing your belly button in, and you're bringing your hips up towards your ribs. So it's rounding that low back, engaging hard. So technically, if you're at the office and you want to practice this, you could. You can even do it against the wall and then try and press the low back into the wall as you round. So when you do this against the ground, you're going to press your low back into the ground. If you have a towel, you can place that behind your low back. That'll sort of help show you when your low back is actually pressed against the ground. So relaxing back, I'm going to press my low back into the ground. I'm going to round my low back and tuck my hips up towards my ribs. If I pull on the towel, it shouldn't come out if my abs are actually engaged. So hold there and breathe and press the low back in. Give yourself a little check, or if you have a partner, they can check on the towel and relax. If that movement feels easy, you can do the knee tucks. So progressing the pelvic tilt doesn't mean you just go to double leg lowers. It means first you start with a knee tuck. So again, with the towel behind my low back, I can even feel my abs engaged. I'm going to do the pelvic tilt, and then I'm going to raise one knee at a time. As I do this, I'm going to pull on the towel to make sure that everything's engaged, that my low back's pressing down. From here, I can then do a double knee tuck. So that's the next progression in the pelvic tilt. Again, engaging the abs with the pelvic tilt, bringing both knees up, pulling on the towel to make sure the low back stays down, pulling, bringing the knees back down, making sure the entire time my abs are engaged. If at any point you lose the connection with the ground or the towel pulls free, stay there. You don't have to just keep progressing. You want to master the movement and make sure that your abs are actually working. If your abs aren't working, the movement's pointless. You're not getting anything out of it. You're not going to get stronger abs. You're not going to get more out of the plank variations and the hanging core. So make sure you master it before moving on. If you've mastered the bent knee variations, you can go to straight legs. So holding the legs up, I'm going to engage the pelvic tilt, make sure everything's nice and tight. And one at a time, I'm going to lower the legs down, pulling on the towel to make sure everything stays nice and tight. At the bottom, you even want to squeeze your glute to protect that low back, pressing the low back down. Alternate sides. If you can't keep your legs straight, or again, if the towel comes out, progress the movement. There's no need to do a movement that's not actually working your abs. We don't want to compensate by putting our hands behind our low back and our butt. We want to make the abs work. The hardest pelvic tilt variation is with both legs lowering. So again, towel behind my low back, abs engaged, performing the pelvic tilt, I'm gonna lower my legs down. I'm not gonna place my hands behind my low back. I'm gonna keep my low back pressed against the ground, not allow the towel to move. Then I'll raise my legs back up, keeping the pelvic tilt. Only lower down as far as you can. The closer to the ground you get, the harder the move will be. Do not attempt that variation if you haven't mastered the ones beforehand. You don't want to just do the glamour move. Master it. Work the core. Develop those deep core intrinsic stabilizers.
Okay. So these are the tilting exercises. You need to teach them gradually. That is, you should not teach everything in one day. You have to teach them as the mother is getting progressed. Okay, so next we will go into pelvic floor exercises.
Do you think this exercise will strengthen your pelvic floor?
Are you able to see the video?
Unfortunately, the answer is no. While this exercise is really great for strengthening your buttock muscles, it won't strengthen your pelvic floor, and it'll just really waste your time if that's why you're doing it. Now today, I'm going to guide you step by step through Kegel exercises that won't waste your time and will strengthen your pelvic floor. This guide is suitable for you if you're a beginner starting out, or if you're a little unsure about doing your Kegels. Now today we're going to cover the best Kegels position to start with, and then we'll go through how to do your Kegels step by step. We'll take a look at how many Kegels to start with, and also how long you need to wait for results. So when you're starting out, the best position for doing your Kegels is the one that you can really feel your exercises. It's often really quite hard to feel your Kegels, so getting yourself in the right position can really help you when you're starting out. So you might like to try your exercises in any of the following positions and see which one works best for you. So you can try perhaps kneeling on all fours, lying prone on your tummy, lying on your back, on your side with a pillow between your knees, or sitting, which is the position we're going to start with today. Now let's get started with your exercises. Your pelvic floor muscles are here, between your legs, where you sit. Now looking at the same view on this model, you can see how the pelvic floor muscles wrap around the three openings in your pelvic floor. You can see them here at the front, around the urethra and the vagina, and you can also see them here circling around the anus at the back. We're going to be exercising all these muscles together now. Now, here are the 3 steps for doing your Kegel exercises correctly. I'll guide you carefully through each step, and then we'll put all the 3 steps together. I want you to start by moving forward away from the back of the chair that you're sitting on now. I'd like you to lift your chest and keep the inward curve in your lower back like this. So you're sitting tall here, your chest is lifted like this, and you have an inward curve in your lower back. Now here's the first step. Try to tighten your anus like this, as if you're stopping gas from passing. You should feel your anus tighten, but your buttocks should stay relaxed. So try that now. Try to tighten the anus, squeeze shut. But if you notice that you're moving up and down like this, you're using your buttocks, and that's not the right thing to do. Try to keep them relaxed, because that can make you actually think that you're doing the exercise when you're not. Now try again, tighten your anus and try to lift it inwards as if you're lifting it upwards towards your navel, as well as squeezing it shut. You should feel a squeezing and lifting sensation around your anus. Now relax around that area and back to resting. How did you go with that? Hopefully you could feel a tightening sensation, and this is part of your Kegel exercise. Now, step 2 can be a little tricky, so I need you to listen really carefully. I want you to tighten and squeeze the entrance to your vagina as if you're closing it shut. All right, let's try that. Try to tighten around the vagina, but also try to lift it inwards as if there's a string drawing up from the top of your vagina up inside towards your navel. Okay, so see if you can draw that up and in, and you might feel your anus tighten and your lower belly tighten too. That's exactly what you want to happen. Now relax back down to resting. So if you're having trouble feeling this exercise, try rolling up a hand towel and sitting on it like this. This can make it much easier to feel your Kegel exercises. Now step 3, here's your final step, so stay with me, we're nearly there. This time, try to tighten, or imagine you're tightening the area in front of your vagina where your urine comes out. Imagine that you're stopping or slowing the flow of urine. Can you tighten this area? This can be a little difficult to feel, especially at first. You might also feel your anus and vagina tightening too, and if you can, that's great. Now relax back down to resting, take a nice deep breath in and out. And now let's combine all 3 steps together. This is a correct Kegel exercise. Start by sitting tall, breathe normally. Now tighten your anus and vagina and lift them both inwards and upwards inside towards your navel. Now at the same time, try to squeeze as if you're stopping the flow of urine at the front. Do these actions all together, all at the same time, and now relax back down to resting. Take a deep breath in and out. How did you go with that Kegel exercise? Could you feel your pelvic floor muscles contracting? If you're a beginner, try not to be too hard on yourself because Kegels can be really hard to feel, especially when you're starting out. But once you can feel the muscle tightening, you'll be well on your way to strengthening your pelvic floor. Let me know below if you have any questions about how to feel these exercises. I'd really like to know. Now, how can you know if you're doing this exercise correctly when you're starting out? Well, there's a couple of ways, and these are quick, easy ways you can try at home. You can try to stop or slow the flow of urine, but just do this once a week and just as a test, not as a regular exercise. You can also test some of these muscles by tightening to stop passing gas when you feel the urge to pass gas. The video linked above helps you to feel your Kegels, so you may like to watch that exercise too if you're still unsure about how to do your Kegel exercises technique. How many Kegels should you start out with? Well, when you're starting, start the first couple of days just doing 1 or 2 gentle Kegel exercises in a row and really try to focus getting your technique correct. This is the most important thing you can do at first. Then, as your technique improves, you might be able to do a few more Kegels and you might be able to hold those exercises for a little bit longer if you can. Try not to worry about doing strong exercises just yet. Technique is far more important. You may like to subscribe below to catch my Kegel strength training video that's coming up in the next few weeks.
Okay. So apart from that, we have since there is no much time, I'll just tell you what are the video. I will just add up the video in your LMS. See, apart from these exercises, there are videos for your graded abdominal exercises and core stabilization exercises. So these 2 exercises, graded abdominal exercises and core stabilization exercises, you should be teaching during the home program. So that as they progress later, they have to do it. Then you can also watch this, how to give graded abdominal exercises. This one you can start on the day 3. Okay. Then I have a video on diaphragmatic breathing exercises. I have a video on coughing, sprinted coughing technique. Okay, so all these videos I will attach in the LMS. You can just watch it, and if you have any doubt, then we can discuss later. Is that clear? Because there is no much time today. Dr. Deepthi is already waiting for login for the class. Okay, so maybe this last video we will watch.
Hi, I'm Margie Weiss. The name of this video is How to Stay Fit. They've probably been doing it wrong all their life. If the muscle can go down, or press your belly button to your backbone and hollow your lower abs. Try to press your lower back into the floor. In order to do that, squeeze your glutes because they're involved too. That way from here to here is all involved in every crunch workout. It's not an exercise for your neck. So doing this up and down is not going to get your abs any stronger. If you do ab work where you're lifting your chest, basic crunch, she would probably have, at first, hands behind the head, because that way you're supporting your head. You don't have to if you're strong enough. But if she was doing that, if you put your fist right under the chin, as she lifts, her nose is coming straight up, and her space between her chin and her chest is still there. What she doesn't want to do when she comes up is crunch this way, because now she's gotten her neck extended, but she hasn't done anything more for her core. So as she comes up, her chin's going straight up, kind of feels like her chin's going to the ceiling. And what happens here, as you'll notice, when she goes down and comes back up again, it's going down and under as her chest lifts. So her belly button's going to the floor. You're going to breathe out on the rise so that you get rid of the volume of your lungs, and then breathe in when you get to the bottom. Every time you come up, you squeeze the glutes as well so that your lower back is on the ground. Now you don't have to have your hands behind your head. If you're a little bit more advanced, you can put your arms right down next to your thighs. And if you want, you can even put a weight in both hands, because that way you can generally come up a little bit higher. So you can do that crunch, and because you have a counterweight there, you can get up a little higher. But again, don't make it a neck exercise. It's rib to hip. The rib and the hip bone come together. In order to come together, the belly button has to get out of the way. So it's got to go down as the body comes up and as the rib and the hip come together. So that's a basic crunch, and that's the one that most people know how to do. But it's not the one that most people are weakest in. Most people, especially women, are weak in the lower abs. And since the lower abs keep your intestines and everything else that's in your stomach in place, you want to have them strong enough that they draw upwards and inwards. So the way to do that is to work the lower body. If you get into an L position, your lower back is on the ground, and you can feel it. Object on these exercises is don't lower your legs any lower than your lower back can handle. So if it's starting to come off the ground, don't go any lower, because you're not gaining strength. You may be injuring yourself. Easiest option, one leg at a time. Legs are going to be bent, so you're just going to tap one leg down and tap the other. Easiest option. Once you've mastered that and you can feel your lower back on the ground, you can do 2 legs at a time. And you can go down a little bit, you can go down a lot. You decide, by the determining factor being your lower back staying on the ground. Once you've gone past that and it's comfortable and safe, you can do it with straight legs. And again, you can do 1 leg at a time, so you just drop 1 leg down, come back up, and the other leg. Or you can do both legs, concentrating on where your lower back is. Breathing out on the rise and breathing in as you drop. If that lower back comes off the ground, don't go so low. Or many people can get down with their legs straight, but they can't get back up with their legs straight. So you can go down straight and you can bend them on the rise. So you get down to here and you relieve the pressure a little bit by bending the legs to get back to the top. So you have a kind of a circular motion. It can be done with 1 leg or 2 legs. So that's the lower main ab group. And again, the determining factor is where your lower back is on the ground. You want to press it into the ground. From here, we'll move to the obliques. So all she's going to do is turn on her side. You're going to have bent legs. The top leg is about 4 inches off the other. Your head's going to be on the ground, and you're going to look right up at the ceiling above your body. So you're going to take your hands just like this and look right up at the ceiling, because now you've twisted your body slightly. So you're going to get the muscles that move diagonally across the body. By having your knees slightly apart but your feet together, it allows you to twist a little bit more. And again, you've got some upper and you've got some lower. So the more she can face the ceiling, and some people are more flexible than others, but you want to try to see if you can get both elbows to the ground when you're lying down. And the nose, again, is coming straight up in the air, and she's just lifting it. And you'll notice she's not going very high compared to a regular crunch where you can go higher. The muscle here, again, the rib to the hip bone, and you're squeezing your glutes at your rear end nice and tightly so that you're stabilizing the lower body as you lift the upper body, and you're getting the diagonal across here. If we want to work the lower aspect only, she relaxes her head, and you got choices. Easiest choice, just lift 1 leg up in the air, about 1 inch or so, drop it back down. Yep. And then if you're a little bit better and you want to add something to it, try to lift both legs off the ground. They don't have to come high. They can stay low or they can come much higher. You decide. You breathe out on the rise and you breathe in on the drop. Once we've done the obliques.
Okay. So this is the graded abdominal exercises that you are going to teach them during the home program. Okay, so you watch the remaining videos, and if you have any doubts, then we can discuss. Maybe we can discuss today after your presentation. Is that clear? So today 4 o'clock you will be having your presentation, 4 to 5. I'll send you the invitation in the afternoon. Is that clear? Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Miss.